Well, I can't believe we're getting on mic the sound of our cat screaming at a squirrel.
Well, this will probably go on for a while.
I don't want to take the joy away from her, though.
I'm not sure that it's a joy as much as it is frustration.
Yeah, that might be true.
It's CD business. It's CD business.
So we're recording, I don't know that time means anything anymore. What day is this? Thursday?
Yeah.
It's Thursday in the late afternoon. Western sun is shining through our front windows. It has continued to be warm here and quite nice. It's rained a lot. What is the fact that it's rained for the first time in a month and a half done for the garden?
I mean, stuff has grown visibly overnight.
Yeah, it's something. It's amazing what water does.
Yeah, it's really true. Plants need water. Not Brondo. Wow, what an old reference that is.
For the last time, I'm pretty sure what's killing the crops is this Brondo stuff.
The Brondo's got what plants crave. It's got electrolytes.
So wait a minute. What you're saying is that you want us to put water on the crops?
Yes.
Water? Like out the toilet?
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be out of the toilet, but yeah, that's the idea.
But Brondo's got what plants crave.
It's got electrolytes.
It makes you think of that. We had that conversation about that guy in the 1904 St. Louis Olympic Marathon that also his trainers thought he didn't need water, but instead needed a combination of rat poison and brandy as a doping agent, and they refused him water, but then he won.
I can't see how that could make you run faster. Certainly not in a straighter line.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's a nervous system stimulant or something.
Do you think that anyone who wins marathons now does it while drunk and on rat poison?
Well, there was that. We talked about that major league pitcher that pitched a no-hitter while tripping on acid.
Yeah, well, that's an obvious performance enhancement.
Everyone does their best work when on acid.
Yeah, we watched that documentary on Netflix some years ago, The No-No.
Sponsor of the pod, Netflix.
Wow. Yeah, that's why we have the big money.
That's why we have the big money. So yeah, what do we, as anything, I mean, we've certainly been eating a lot of basil that we have grown. Mostly
basil and arugula. That's pretty much what has had enough time to grow into actual food at this point. Mm-hmm.
We also had an interaction with...
We had a box of produce from a local greengrocer delivered.
That's the segue I was trying to make.
Yeah, it's not a CSA. It's a local greengrocer trying to stay in business and help people out by delivering produce at this weird time.
So they'll send you a box of miscellany? Like you
get some stuff.
Yeah, you can, although I think maybe they took away this option now, you can pick a la carte or could pick a la carte, but now you get like just a box, a big old, I think a Staples box, duct tape shut.
I think it was a Home Depot.
Home Depot, full of miscellany.
Yeah, they took away the option of picking items you wanted after I had already prepaid extra for the items that I wanted. And they instead kept my extra money, but just gave me whatever. So that's fine.
They're doing the best they can.
I'm sure they are, yeah.
And the box was full. I mean, it was a ton of stuff. Yeah. Some of it looked good, some of it looked terrible.
That was maybe the worst looking corn I've ever seen.
Yeah, we ate, and then we chose to eat. I guess we chose to eat it because it clearly was on its last leg, so we ate that. Last night we ate the green beans, which I thought were pretty good, actually.
They actually were good, but they required like a 40-minute cook time instead of a typical 5 minutes or less cook time.
Yeah.
they had been allowed to stay on the vine too long.
Sure. And then we had, as you mentioned, the worst corn on the cob that I have ever personally consumed.
We should have taken it off the cob and turned it into some other dish. Like, it obviously had lost its moisture and sweetness. It just visibly looked bad by the time we shucked it within 2 hours of receiving the delivery, so the problem was not that we waited to eat it, but it had been languishing since whenever it was picked.
Sure. We'll keep you updated on the status of the box.
A lot of the stuff in it looked fine. It just wasn't stuff that I typically would choose to buy in the first place.
Yeah. Allison, what are you drinking?
I'm drinking some sparkling wine.
You might be surprised to learn, dear listener, am also drinking some sparkling wine. To hell with my resistance to pneumonia. We're in a good mood today. We've had a good thing happened, which is almost never true these days. So we thought we'd drink some sparkling wine in the afternoon and talk about seeds.
Yeah. Let's celebrate with some seeds.
Okay, so the catalog we thought we would center ourselves around today is one that I did not know about, but stumbled across, called Seeds from Italy.
Yeah, I didn't know about it either. You've been doing some research and looking for interesting seed catalogs for us to read.
Yeah, we have a few coming up, I think, from different... These are based in the United States, but sell varieties of seeds that are from other countries. Yeah, we'll take a tour around the world in seeds, perhaps. These are sold out of Lawrence, Kansas. Seeds from Italy. So this, I think, might exist only as a PDF catalog. I've ordered a lot of hard copies of stuff recently, but the PDF, the cover of it is among the more, I don't know, modernist pieces of cover art I've seen on a seed catalog. I've seen, it is a winding road going through farmland. The road is lined with trees. There are mountains in the distance, presumably the Alps. But the fields of crops are simply colored blocks with colorful stripes running through them.
Yeah.
I think it's neat. It doesn't show... So many catalogs are just a picture of a squash or a laborer toiling or something like that. This one would like to be art, I think.
Well, and then on the first page, they have a picture of the scene that this represents.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, it's a pretty good... It's a pretty good representation, actually, now that I look at it.
Yeah, it's blocks of people growing different colors of flowers and different crops that happen to be brightly colored in some way.
Sure. What really struck me about this catalog, and the reason I wanted to center ourselves around it, is because right after the opening page, the first thing is a page titled Tomato and Pepper Problems. I'll just read it for you. In late 2019, the United States Department of Agriculture abruptly imposed a ban on the import of tomato and pepper seeds until they are tested and found free of a new virus that is afflicting commercial tomato and pepper crops around the world. The new regulation has thrown the seed industry in Europe into disarray as seed companies rush to complete the required tests on thousands of seed lots of hundreds of varieties. The timing could not be worse for Seeds from Italy. Because of the time it takes to print and mail this catalog, we had to go to the printer without knowing for certain when our tomato and pepper seeds will arrive here. It all depends on how quickly the seeds are tested, certified as virus-free, packaged, and shipped to the US. We might already have them in stock by the time you receive this catalog. We just don't know, but we felt it was only fair to inform you of the situation. A bit of background on the problem. The disease called tomato brown rugose fruit virus, capital T, lowercase o, capital B, capital R, capital F, capital V, was first found in tomatoes in Jordan in 2015. It It has since been found in California, Mexico, Germany, Italy, Spain, the Netherlands, the UK, China, Saudi Arabia, and Greece. The virus is harmless to humans and animals. It affects only tomatoes and peppers and causes fruits to get very brown, wrinkled spots that make the crop unmarketable. ToBRFV is very contagious and can be transmitted on workers' hands, clothing, tools, and so on. There are no resistant varieties. There is no proof that it's transmitted on seeds, but the USDA is still requiring testing seeds as well as plants and fruits. So, there's a virus to which there is no resistance, making its way rapidly around the world that they are scrambling to do testing for. Just thought it seemed topical. I'll tell you, I breathed a sigh of relief when they made it clear that there's no vegetable-to-human transmission of the virus.
Well, I urge you not to learn about the problems tulips are having right now.
No, can I get a tulip virus?
No, it's not quite that.
Oh.
But we're basically breeding some really gnarly antibiotic-resistant fungi, I think, on our tulips now.
Well, I for years have gone back and forth with my greatest anxieties being directed towards bacteria and antibiotic-resistant bacteria, and until recently, my anxieties were around fungi and fungal infections and the difficulty in treating those and how those are on the horizon. And then we got a virus. We didn't get a virus. Well, maybe we did. Who can say?
We could have already had it for all we know. Wow, there's actually an Atlantic article called Killer Tulips Hiding in Plain Sight.
Well, we can link to that in the show notes if you want.
I haven't read it. I just thought I would see if this has permeated public consciousness yet.
Sure.
And that was the first hit, so I guess it has.
So in any case, this appears to be a nightshade exclusive virus at this point.
Should we be interested that it apparently doesn't affect eggplants or potatoes?
I'm interested.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about this. I did no research, though perhaps I should have done some. Since you told me this was the reason you wanted to talk about this catalog. So I don't know anything about this virus or what is known about it, but it's interesting if it doesn't affect other nightshades. That's sort of cool. I mean, I guess potatoes, we don't care about their fruits, so That would be why that's fine. But eggplants, that's definitely what we care about.
Yeah, also, I'm interested in the characterization of the virus making them unmarketable. Is that the same as being nasty or useless?
Nasty was exactly the word I was going to suggest as how you would describe what this does. That's my guess, yeah. I think it probably makes them gross to look at.
But not to eat, potentially?
Well, I think you wouldn't eat the parts that are affected by the virus.
I see. Why don't we read peppers and pepperoncini? Since the peppers are afflicted at the moment, why don't we read some of the pepper descriptions that they may or may not be able to provide?
In Italian, peperone is a sweet pepper and pepperoncino is a hot pepper. Franci's wide selection of peppers reveals their importance in Italian cooking. The square, thick-walled bell peppers are used for stuffing, frying, and roasting. The long bull's horn types with thin walls are fried and grilled. Hot peppers are often pickled as well as used to spice up dishes. All peppers require warm soil and hot weather to thrive, so don't rush them. Start seeds 6 to 8 weeks before the average last frost, and set them out 2 weeks after the last frost when warm weather has arrived. If they start to flower before you plant them, pick off the buds so the plants will not be stunted. Seed counts are approximate.
Yeah, they really... Do other catalogs say that number of seeds that they'll give you in the...
Often
I feel like no.
it's advertised by weight instead of
Okay.
seed number. But it depends. Some catalogs I think you'll get for different plants. You'll get seed number versus seed weight. You'll get approximations.
My, more limited memory and experience to yours is that I don't recall seeing 225 seeds in a description, but that's sort of what I'm seeing here. These descriptions are on the short side, but let's read some of their pepper descriptions.
ToBRFV, also called Christmas pepper. This is the type you see pickled in large jars in Italian delis. Round, 2 by 2 inches, sweet.
Oh man, we had those at the deli that I worked at in Philadelphia. I don't think we called them Christmas peppers. I think we called them those peppers.
Those peppers in that jar?
Yeah. But they always look really appetizing in that presentation, I think. Peperoncino picante calabrese. Also known as Devil's Kiss. Small 1 inch to 2 inch diameter, round hot pepper. Moderate heat. Use fresh, dried, or pickled. How about this one? Dolce di Bergamo. Sigarette di Bergamo. The cigarette of Bergamo. A long, thin, sweet pepper, ideal for grilling.
Wow.
I don't know that I find the idea of eating a cigarette to be appetizing or appealing at all.
Well, what do you think about the idea of walking around with a pepper held between your lips?
Like instead of a piece of straw.
Yeah,
it's
like
pepper.
a cigarette or a piece of straw. But in this case, it's a long, hot pepper.
I can imagine mafia.
Oh, I'm sorry, sweet pepper, my
Yeah.
bad.
I can imagine mafia bosses doing that to look badass, maybe. Whoa, hold on. If you turn to the next page, you may recall from a brief moment ago that the peperoncino picante calabrese is known as the devil's kiss. The peperoncino ciliegina picante is known to some as Satan's kiss.
Wow.
Ellipsis, beware. This is a tasty, medium-hot, round cherry chili. It loses about 60% of its heat when cooked, making it great stuffed with mozzarella and anchovies and then grilled. Good foliage and a compact plant, suitable for container gardening.
Stuffed with mozzarella and anchovies and grilled peppers sounds really good
It
right
does
now.
sound good, but I'm trying to understand why I have to ellipsis beware Satan's kiss when it is a medium hot pepper.
I mean, I guess the thing is that extremely hot peppers are truly extreme. I don't know how hot a medium hot pepper is. I mean, what's a habanero? Like,
I mean, there's that
is that
scale
still
of pepper
the Scoville? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But is a habanero like less than medium? Is it?
I think so.
So like, this is probably pretty hot.
I mean, how hot a pepper is it's not subjective, but it is based on experience and acclimation, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to read Quadrato d'Asti Rosso. Square red from Asti. Asti is famous for its peppers, and this is another classic. Very large, productive pepper. 80 to 85 days to red ripe. Roast, remove skins, and serve as an appetizer. I just like the descriptor of it as being square one.
Yeah, it's the square one. I mean, roasted peppers are such a classic presentation for them. Why do you roast and then... I guess I have this question about a lot of things, including beyond produce. Like, why when you roast a thing do you then remove the skin before eating it? Because that's the part of it that was exposed to the roasting process and would have the roasted flavor in it.
I don't think that's right. I mean, when you roast a pepper, the inner pepper flesh, it's a texture thing, right? But I think the flavor change permeates through the pepper. It's not like peppers are
Does it? Okay.
thick and huge.
Sure.
And I think the whole point is to separate the skin from the flesh because they have different textures, and the skin has a harder, waxier texture, and then the roasted flesh will be really soft.
When you get again, I'll go back to my deli experience. When you get we would get these big jars of roasted red peppers to throw on sandwiches, right? And they were so good. I like them so much, but they have blackened parts on them, right? When you get roasted red peppers.
But so those are not skinned. Is that
I think not.
I think it depends on how thin versus thick and how oily the skin is.
These would be pretty oily, I suspect. Let me read the ornamental pepper fiesta. Very hot, not for food. Compact, bushy plant producing numerous multicolored ornamental chili peppers. Very beautiful container plant or in borders.
I used to have those. They are very pretty.
Why are they not for food? Are they poison or are they saying they're too hot? Because certainly somebody wouldn't think they were too hot.
I assume it's that because they've been bred for appearance, they're both extremely hot and boring tasting, maybe? Whatever other notes they bring to the food are not interesting or good. I have no idea. I actually never tried tasting them. But I did have those ornamental pepper plants because I thought they were really charming.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably one of the first ornamental plants I ever elected to grow.
Is this when you were a child?
This is when I was in college.
You had a pepper plant?
Yeah.
So you lived, I don't think I'm out of line in saying often in squalor in college,
yeah,
right?
That's right.
As a lot of college people in college do, but I think particularly in your case at some points, but you also had a beautiful ornamental pepper plant.
Well, let's see. I think my senior year of college, I lived in a bit more luxury than I had in previous years. First, because I moved into a much nicer house than where I had lived before that with some friends, and we had a little garden in the backyard and stuff. And then also, I stopped taking too many classes and working half-time and stuff because I was able to actually live on some extra money, and I didn't have to constantly work for everything.
What are you going to do with your government stimulus check? Are you going to buy a pepper plant? Which, incidentally, you have gotten, but I certainly have not, although I am eligible.
Well,
you can buy pepper plants.
I guess I'll get a bunch of pepper plants. I'll certainly get at least one pepper plant.
That's fair. Who could say that was too luxurious? The Giallo di Cuneo. Large square pepper from Piemonte, which has the reputation for the best peppers in Italy. Big, round, very thick walls, and thin skin with great flavor. Has a bit of a pointed end. Very productive. Color is brilliant yellow gold.
I don't know why, but I'm really excited about that pepper. I want that pepper.
Yeah, I mean, it seems terrific. It has thick walls and thin skin. What a combo.
Yeah, maybe we should get one of those.
Maybe. Read on the next page, Peperoncino Stromboli.
Okay. Peperoncino Stromboli. Named for the famous island volcano, a hot chili pepper variety producing bunches of small, upward-pointing green fruit that eventually turn orange. Good container plant.
As I look at pictures of, some of them they're just showing the peppers, some of them they're showing peppers still on the vine. Still on the vine, they're often pointed upwards, which I guess in my mind I've always imagined peppers drooping downwards in their teardrop form, but I guess oftentimes they're just sticking up obscenely.
Well, I think both happen. In past years, I think the only peppers I've grown in the time we've known one another have been jalapenos and ancho chilies.
And now daddles.
Oh, and now daddles. And all of those grow pointing down.
Yeah.
But some of them grow pointing up, especially the ornamental ones. Like, that's one of the things that's exciting about them.
Yeah.
But
looks like an explosion of color or something like that.
yeah, I wonder if the
like
genetics...
it's actually a firework going off. It's like that.
Yeah. And they go through, like, such a dramatic range of color changes as they ripen. I wonder if the genetics for the fruit turning up versus down is known. There's like a lot of interesting work on plant morphology genetics, so probably somebody does this. I just don't know anything about plants, basically.
Well, these are beautiful. I hope they do not succumb to the viral pepper pandemic. Do you want to talk for a bit about what's going on with seed companies?
Okay, so the situation, at least with Southern Exposure Seed Exchange, is the last time you and I talked, they had a little announcement up on their website that they were once again accepting orders for at least half a day.
This is the breaking news portion of the pod.
Yeah.
We take you now to the scene of another fast-breaking news story.
So I just went to their website again to see if that's true, and it opens with, "Dear valued customers, we are currently not accepting new orders. Due to unprecedented demand for seeds, we have been inundated with orders, and we have had to stop accepting new ones once we reach our capacity for the day. We will attempt to be open every day starting around 11 a.m., and we will announce our closing at least an hour in advance so as to not catch anyone off guard. We apologize for the inconvenience and thank you for your patience in these strange and difficult times."
Yeah, I would say a huge number of the seed companies that I regularly check in on over the last week in particular have had postings that they just can't accept orders right now.
Yeah, they're at capacity. And what I think is really cool is that Southern Exposure Seed Exchange has listed other sustainable regional seed companies that you can turn to, and they've got them broken down by U.S. region. And so they have Eastern seed companies, Northern seed companies, and Western seed companies that they recommend that carry similar varieties. And they're sharing the wealth a little bit with these smaller seed companies. Oh, one of the northern ones is in Saskatchewan, so it does cover a bit of Canada as well.
Well, that's the sort of generosity of spirit and understanding of comradeship that you would expect from a worker-owned company like them. It's worth noting that, even some of the big companies have, like the biggest companies have been we're not accepting orders, or we're showing, substantial shipping delays. When I checked in on Baker Creek, they wouldn't even let you on their website. They were like, our website is breaking from the...
Wow,
from
we can't handle this amount of traffic.
Yeah, it was just like, we can't handle this. Bye. It looks like I checked in on it yesterday. That was still up, and it looks like today they're back up with a shipping delay.
So the good news here is that while many small businesses are suffering, these seed companies will likely stay in business, right? If demand is this high, you would think it means they're safe for the time being, and people are... Maybe that also means people who want to grow their own little victory garden or hobby garden are prioritizing heirloom or local or regional seeds.
Sure. I think, there's the movement to quote unquote return to the earth in certain communities over the last few years is probably only going to be accelerated by this time, you would think.
Wait, return to the earth really sounds like dying and decomposing rather than the back to the land movement of the 1970s.
I think it's intended to.
Wait, is that a thing?
I don't know.
The return to the earth movement?
I don't know. I've heard it phrased that way on occasion.
Huh.
I heard somewhere that you might have another short game for us to play in a new installment of our now classic segment.
What the fuck is that?
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, that one. So what's the idea?
Okay, so this one is kind of similar to the last... we did roses last time?
Yes, we did roses.
Okay, so this is kind of similar to that. I will name a celebrity who has a plant named after them, and then you say what kind of plant you think that would be.
Great, I love it.
And I guess I say celebrity, but I mean...
You're using that pretty generously.
Pretty loose, yeah. All right, the first one...
I mean, by what celebrity level are we talking here?
All levels.
Like the My Pillow guy that Trump brought out at the at that press conference recently.
I mean, they're... Depending on what your deal is, I guess they're all more famous than that guy. Or have been until recently.
Yeah. Now the My Pillow guy has got to be B-list at least.
Okay. Well, the first one is going to be a little bit of a softball, I guess. I'll read a few people who all have a plant of this type named after them.
Okay.
Neil Young. Judy Garland.
Huh.
Bob Hope, Napoleon, Julio Iglesias, and Mary Berry, one of the original judges of the Great British Bake Off.
Wow, she already has something named after her? Well, it's not like you, like with a postage stamp or a coin where you have to be dead for a certain number of years. Is she dead?
No, she's alive.
Oh, okay. When you said this is going to be a softball, I thought it was going to be like a bunch of people who are in the same general category of celebrity, but this is definitely not that. So, I'm sorry, Judy Garland, Julio Iglesias,
Neil Young,
right?
Bob Hope, Napoleon, Mary Berry. There's actually quite a long list of celebrities with one of these named after them, so I'm just pulling from my list of maybe 50 people.
Wow. So is there one type of plant that is the celebrity plant? Like, is this way more than other plants have?
Yeah.
Huh. So what would be just the celebrity plant? Something showy? Grapefruits. Is that wrong?
You feel that a grapefruit is the most prized ornamental plant in a garden, or?
Well,
what?
I think it has some unique qualities, certainly.
What are the qualities of a grapefruit that you think make it so special?
Interacts with a lot of common medications.
Good point.
People drink it because Gwyneth Paltrow says to do it or something,
Does
right?
She?
I don't know. I thought the grapefruit diet is a classic.
I feel like the
stupid
grapefruit diet is maybe decades before Gwyneth Paltrow.
But I mean, a celebrity would hawk the grapefruit diet, right?
Probably at some point, yeah.
But it might be like a Jane Fonda.
Yeah, in the
type
70s.
Not to besmirch Jane Fonda,
yeah, she's
who's terrific, but
she might have one of these named after.
Let's see. I mean, honestly, if we hadn't done roses with celebrity names last time, I might have guessed Rose in this context.
Yeah, that was right. That's why it was a softball, or why I thought it was.
Well, all right, fair.
That was sort of the hint.
Fair.
Yeah, those are all people who have roses named after them. Okay, let's see if you know this one. Jenny Lind.
I don't know who it is.
Well, the reason I bring up this one is that we actually grow this. I planted this.
Well, who's Jenny Lind?
So this is actually an heirloom introduced in the 1840s. So it was named after a celebrity of the 1840s. That's why I say when When I say they're all named after celebrities, I'm being a little bit loose with the definition. The singer Jenny Lind was a Swedish opera singer, often called the Swedish Nightingale. I'm reading from the Wikipedia page about her right now. One of the most highly regarded singers of the 19th century, she performed in soprano roles in opera in Sweden and across Europe, and undertook an extraordinarily popular concert tour of the United States beginning in 1850. She was a member of the Royal Swedish Academy of Music from 1840. So she was quite famous at one point, but that point is
not
some
this
time
point.
ago.
Yeah. Okay, opera singer. Sweet potatoes.
That's a good guess.
They're rich and hearty in the way that the classic operatic voice is.
It's actually a melon.
Oh.
And it's a cantaloupe that the Wikipedia page says has green flesh rather than orange flesh,
How
but
do
it's
you
not
know
a honeydew.
it's ripe? Do you have to cut it open while it's still on the vine and then
That's
duct
right.
tape it shut?
Yeah, that's what everyone does. Typically, I think you judge a melon by its smell.
Okay.
And some types of melons, I think when they're ripe, they come right off the vine. I don't know whether this is one of those types.
So this was named during her time.
Correct.
Do you feel, is there any information about whether she felt honored by this?
Not that I could gain from reading the Wikipedia page about the melon or the person. So I
Try
don't
to put
know.
yourself in the mindset of like a big egoed celebrity. And someone comes up to you and says, they've named a plant after you. And then you're like, hell yeah, I deserve this because I have an outsized understanding of myself. And then they tell you it's a melon. Do you feel great about that? Or are you like, why wasn't it a tomato?
Well, keep in mind that in 1840, probably the most delicious thing anyone could eat would be
Was
a
a
piece
melon.
of fruit.
That's true, actually.
Like a peach or a melon seems like one of the greatest prizes a garden could bestow.
I mean, now a melon is most noteworthy for being
In ball form,
Well,
the bad part of a fruit salad.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. The least desirable part of a fruit salad. But probably you're right that it was a great and sweet, delicious luxury.
I'm gonna have to see if these fruits are really green because I'm almost certain that the picture I saw in the catalog showed the flesh being sort of orangish like other cantaloupes. But as we learned recently with the Marie Curie rose, something can be called the same varietal, the same cultivar, but maybe have some phenotypic variation.
Can we use this moment to clarify some language
Whoa.
that I've been curious about?
Oh, man.
But I'm not the knowledgeable party in this podcast. Varietal and cultivar.
I don't think varietal is the word I should be using. I think cultivar
Well,
is
what
probably
is the
right word.
difference?
Okay, so it seems to me that A, I should never say varietal because it's really specific to grapes,
I've really picked up that language from you.
but variety would be the right word that I should be using.
The regular word.
Yeah, variety versus cultivar, they pretty much mean the same thing, except that a variety is something that has arisen spontaneously, and a cultivar is something that has been bred intentionally. But of course, the reality is, if you get a genetic mutant that does something interesting, and then you make sure to save those seeds and grow them again, what is it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's certainly how new cultivars emerge. It's not like people have been doing genome engineering or something in their backyards for 100 years.
I mean, in common usage, is it that just like heirlooms are called varieties and non-heirlooms are called cultivars or something?
No, I think it's, honestly, as far as I can tell, it's mostly a distinction for pedants.
Well, let's continue to use them indiscriminately.
Horton News, the Iowa State Extension Hort News website is telling me that I really need to know the difference between them, but they're not doing a great job of convincing
Selling
me
you
right
on
now.
that. Yeah.
A variety is always written in lowercase and italicized. It often has the abbreviation VAR for variety
All
preceding it. The first letter of a cultivar is capitalized, and the term is never italicized. Cultivars are also surrounded by single quotation marks, never double quotation
What
marks.
is this? Is a style guide?
As far as I can tell, yes.
I hate it. I hated that.
Can a plant have both a variety and a cultivar? Sure. One good example is sunburst honey locust. Its scientific name is Gladitia triacanthos, variety inermis, cultivar sunburst. The point is that I've learned nothing and don't care.
Yeah, I definitely don't care. Let's continue the game.
Okay. Alright, what do you think about this one? Van Gogh.
Ooh, that's a good one. Corn.
Ooh, why do you say corn?
Because of the ear thing.
Oh my god! That's so good. The next person who makes a new breed, who breeds a new cultivar of corn and doesn't name it Van Gogh is really... They're really wasting an opportunity.
But it's not.
It's not corn.
Is it, would you say that it is connected to his art style at all?
It's certainly connected to his art subject. A famous painting of his has the name of this plant in the title, interestingly.
Boy, I don't know.
Okay, so I was really trying to mislead you into saying sunflower because Van Gogh has famously painted sunflowers. But the true plant called Van Gogh. Is there an iris called Van Gogh?
No, he also
has painted
irises,
them for sure. No, the true plant that I'm referring to is a potato plant. Because, of course, Van Gogh had famously painted the potato eaters.
Okay.
So I could trick you into saying sunflower. But then the truth would be potato. You really set me up and then knocked me right down.
It's interesting because as I'm looking up he painted so many things that could have been answers.
Yeah.
Poppies, cypresses, almond blossoms, a vineyard, a wheat field. But the potato eaters, it's a potato.
Well, it's actually a picture of people looking pretty grim.
Right.
But I just wanted to note that there is a sunflower named for Van Gogh, but it's called Vincent's Choice.
Cool. We talked in an earlier episode about things being called somebody's choice. I think we talked about Sophie's Choice in particular.
Well, you would certainly bring that up, yeah.
Well, no, that was the name of it.
Oh, that was the name of a plant. Shit.
But it didn't have anything to do with that. Amazingly.
All right, should we do another one?
Hit me.
All right. Red Baron. I'm going to name, actually what I'll do is I'll name 3 people who have one of these plants named after them. And and you can make a guess, and then I'll add another person if you don't get it right, and then I'll add the last person.
So far, my associations with Red Baron are fighter pilot and frozen pizza.
Right, pizza. Pizza and Snoopy would be...
Oh, Snoopy, yeah, that's right.
Those would be my associations. Snoopy pretending to be a fighter pilot.
I'm going to go with tomato on the pizza connection.
It's a good guess.
No, it's not, but continue.
It is a good guess, yeah. Captain Kidd.
Captain Kidd?
Yeah, so this is a plant that there's a cultivar named Red Baron and a cultivar named Captain Kidd.
Okay, so we have a pilot and a sailor. I don't know still. Oh, but I should guess. A lilac.
Oh, wow, I love lilacs. Sir Isaac Newton.
Well, How can it not be an apple?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Wow, those first ones had nothing to do with it, and then that one had everything to do with it?
Well, I was trying to make it...
Yeah, you don't want to give Isaac Newton first.
Okay, I know I already said that Napoleon had a rose, but there's another plant named after Napoleon.
Well, as we learned recently in our watching of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, the only thing notable about Napoleon is that he's, quote, a short, dead dude.
And loves ice cream and bowling? Is that what we also
bowling,
learned?
and going on a water slide. At a water park named Waterloo. Damn, that movie's so good. So let's go with something that... What if we went with the irony of it being an extremely tall plant? Like an enormous sunflower or corn.
Super tall corn would be funny.
Yeah.
It's a sweet pepper.
All right. Why the hell not?
Okay, how about this one? Share. And I'm going to let you have 2 guesses. If you get it wrong the first time, I'll give you a second hint.
Sunflower.
It's not sunflower, but it is another type of plant that you've previously guessed while we were playing this game.
I guessed that for the Sunny and Share effect.
Yeah, that would have been probably more clever. And do keep in mind that it's another plant that you've previously guessed, and you were wrong, but this plant has turned up once more.
I was going to go with cherry if it wasn't something I'd already guessed. Because of Share again.
Sure, yeah. It's an iris.
Oh. Did I already guess that?
Well, you guessed that for Van Gogh.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, cherry or sunny, or cherry or sunflower would have, I think.
Okay, this is the last one.
Okay.
And I'm going to name 4 people who have something pretty obvious in common, and they all have the same type of plant named after them.
Superb.
Laura Bush.
Oh, Jesus.
Hillary Clinton.
Oh.
Barbara Bush. Michelle Obama.
They all have one thing in common, but apart from that, basically nothing in common.
Well, they have a pretty obvious thing in common.
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton, Laura Bush, Barbara Bush, Michelle Obama.
This is another one I would have probably guessed rose for if we hadn't already dealt with roses.
This is in that...
It's gotta be something majestic, though.
Yeah, to give you a hint, this is in that category of highly prized ornamentals that people really put a lot of work into.
Also, I assume this is the same, company doing all of these namings as a bit?
Well, apparently dozens. At least... Better Homes and Gardens tells me at least 15 first ladies have one of these named after them. So there's a long tradition of naming one of these after a first lady. Okay, so it's
probably something that's prized in an old-timey way, too. I'm going to go with, maybe tulip or petunia or something like that.
That's a great guess.
Yeah.
But it's an orchid.
An orchid, okay.
So I'm going to show you a few of these orchid pictures now. That's the Eleanor Roosevelt.
Oh, it's beautiful.
That's the Michelle Obama.
Okay. Nearly indistinguishable. So it's hard, but...
Well, I'll just read out. There's a list on Better Homes and Gardens of first ladies with namesake orchids. Lou Henry Hoover. Eleanor Roosevelt. Bess Truman. Mamie Eisenhower. Jackie Kennedy, Lady Bird Johnson, Pat Nixon, Betty Ford, Rosalind Carter, Nancy Reagan, Barbara Bush, Hillary Clinton, Laura Bush, Michelle Obama, and Melania Trump.
Okay. There's a lot of suspense there. I'm not sure that skipped any even, did it? I mean, it's basically everybody.
It pretty much covers it.
Well,
all of the First Lady, I'm reading from Better Homes and Gardens again, all of the First Lady orchids are housed at the United States Botanic Garden in Washington, D.C. So I'm speculating that there's a program to specifically do this exact thing, right?
I mean, I wonder if any of them look weird.
I'm sure they
don't.
don't.
The others don't, yeah.
Right? I'm sure they're all
nearly
pink
identical,
and... Because the thing about orchids, the reason why botanists love them is they have so much variation in the shapes they can take, and they can be very weird and very extreme in all these different ways. But I would suspect that the First Lady orchids are all kind of
prim and
pink
proper.
or purple and normal orchid shaped. I could be wrong. I mean, I haven't looked for all of them. OrchidCareZone.com has an article about this.
An important resource to keep in mind.
Southern Living has an article called "Orchid Fans Will Love This Sweet White House Tradition."
I am interested in what Melania's looks like, but I assume it's got to be the biggest one. It's got to be just much bigger than the other ones, you would think.
It's pink.
As we were eating our objectively terrible corn last night that we got in our farmer's market box, we thought it would be interesting to revisit one of the classic seedy business corn cultivars, I think in this context.
Sure, why
cultivar,
not?
not variety. And that corn is, of course, Jaws. We read...
Can you read the description again?
Yeah, we'll
just
read
to
it
remind?
again. This is out of the Burpees catalog. The image of it is just a hand grasping the shaft of an enormous corn. And the description, to remind you, is, "You will not believe your ears!" Exclamation point.
I mean, that is...
It's funny.
Yeah.
Legitimately. Last summer's blockbuster yield stunning, larger than life, 12-inch long, 6-inch round, up to 10% larger than other varieties. Jaws delivers a cornucopia of delectable deep-set kernels, bursting with old-fashioned flavor. 2 golden yellow giant-sized ears can be broken in half to fit in a standard boiling pot. This is the so big you have to break it in half to cook it corn.
Right, I remember that.
Or get a bigger pot.
Well, buy a special pot
Buy a special
for this corn. Actually, my family, I'm not going to say we had a special corn pot, but we did have a very big pot that was for canning that also got brought out for corn and lobsters when I was a kid.
Jeez.
Well, it was like a New England thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
15% of reviewers will recommend this product.
Wow.
It says widely hated.
I have maybe never looked at a product that has such low... I mean, even something that's very bad, usually for some reason it'll have like at least 50% of people who say it's okay.
Burpees is very responsive to critical reviews also. I'm not going to read all the reviews that are like this one because so many of them are, but here's one that is very common. Poor germination. Decided to try this variety because of the size. Well, fucking, of course. Only about 5 stalks came up. Soil temperature was plenty warm enough. I had planted another variety on the other side of the field and it did fine. All the other vegetables in the area grew just fine. Don't know what the problem was. Very disappointed. The response from Burpee is, "We are sorry to hear that the Jaws seed did not germinate well." And then they offer advice. But so many of them have issues with germination.
I mean, that's the thing, right? Is if you breed something to be extremely one thing. It's very likely to have some sort of genetic ride-along that causes it to be extremely something else. And in this case, it's extremely big. I would bet it's not extremely delicious because those usually don't correlate. But then also it has an extreme problem of low germination.
Low germination is its most frequently cited problem here. YOLO Bob says, tried twice and still, all caps, no corn! So I'm not going to
Wow, I
read all
really
of those.
respect YOLO Bob's choice of username on the Burpee website.
For some other more varied critique, Vernon says, nothing special, 2 stars. Flavor not great, shucks not tight at the tip. Ears not as large as expected, turned starchy very quickly. Very disappointed. It did not come up well when planted during perfect conditions. Sorry.
And that's the thing. What you want out of corn, the genetics you really want, is something that's not going to turn starchy quickly.
Mm-hmm.
You want something that's going to remain sweet for as long as possible after you pick it. I don't know why you would breed corn for any other. Something
kiss
that's
of
meant
death.
to be eaten as a fresh ear of corn on the cob should be bred exclusively for its ability to remain sweet in the time between taking it off the stalk and putting it on your plate.
Well, it seems like most things should be bred to taste as good as they can taste. But
You
what
would
do
think,
I know?
but this country insists on breeding vegetables to taste worse and worse, and then having a culture of TV shows that repeatedly imply that vegetables inherently taste bad.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I'm into my 3rd glass of champagne and I'm getting mad
Well, now
about...
you know that we hate America.
I'm getting mad about how we breed vegetables to taste bad, and then
Then when people don't like
our
it,
cultural belief
yeah.
is that all vegetables taste bad. That's a shame. It's a real shame.
It is. I did not know that tightness at the tip was valued in corn until this review.
Oh, yeah.
You had to be real tight.
You
The
certainly do. Well, you want to keep those, like, bugs and stuff out
I
of
guess
the
that's fair.
ear.
Ears not as large as expected was a pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, if you think
conclusion.
they're gonna... The main reason you're growing it is they're disgustingly large, and then they're sort of normal-sized. I'd be disappointed.
Review by Ool.
Can you spell that?
Ooll.
Okay.
Contains an interesting, I think, illuminating fact. It reads, Bad spring in Oregon, results mixed. However, Pack claimed 100 seeds, but actual count was 225. Sadly, only half sprouted, which confuses seedling operations. So it's clear they know that it's shitty at germinating if they're including a time and a half over the number of seeds they're promising you.
They're giving you bonus seeds,
Yeah.
hoping you'll get the right number of sprouts.
That's right.
Though my grandfather always said, this is some farm wisdom. Sorry, that's copyright a different podcast. And when you plant corn, the old-fashioned lore was 1 for the worm, 1 for the crow, 1 to rot, and 2 to grow.
Ooh.
So for every 5
2/5,
seeds you
yeah.
plant, you get 2 corn plants. That was his mnemonic, I guess.
like it. That's really good.
Maybe it was even 1 for the worm, 1 for the crow, 2 to rot, and 1 to grow. Maybe it was 1/5. I don't remember now. But point being, I guess corn germination rates have been not great for a long time.
Sure. Poor performer, says Urban Farmer. So disappointed, I had to plant it twice for germination. When the silk turned dark, only half the cob was ripe, and it was very tough and chewy. I wish I had planted a different type of corn. Jays, never again. He misspelled Jaws.
Okay, I was confused.
So the visual aspects that you would usually look for to indicate it being ripe don't correlate with how ripe it is.
Yeah.
And then it was tough and chewy also.
It sounds like such an utter disappointment. I don't know what Burpees is even doing.
Denmo says, not a way fatter than other years.
Whoa, that really seems like how is Babby formed level of internet.
Hard to understand what that even means. Cob's about 10 inches, but skinny with small kernels. Classic criticism. Long but thin.
They said it was 12 inches, but it was really 10 inches. That's
And
still...
Thin.
Oh, yeah.
As a comparison point, Mike R., in his review, 1-star review entitled Corn Jaws Hybrid, the seeds did not germinate. I bought bodacious sweet corn seeds, and they came right up. So, again, you have a lot of people planting other corn in the immediate vicinity of these and having still terrible luck.
I'm curious, can you find what's the best review?
Yeah.
I want to know what
there were a couple that were
5-star review sounds like for this corn.
I'll give you a 4-star. Dwarf, in his 4-star review titled, Good Corn Which Was Tall, Strong, and Had Nice Corn, says,
I love it.
I planted this corn on the hottest day of the year in eastern Washington state after I had soaked the seeds for 24 hours. The next day was cold and wet. This weather continued for most of the summer. I had about 60% germination success. The plants were about 8 feet tall with 2 huge corn ears per stalk. I've already ordered seeds for next year. I want to try this corn again. Wow. Al H. says, my high hopes were dashed in all exclamation points. I had high hopes for this new corn cultivar, but the germination was extremely poor, and those few that did germinate took over a month to come up. I am a university-trained horticulturalist and experienced gardener. I know how to grow corn. There is something terribly wrong with this seed. Burpee should replace all orders with a new batch of fresh seed next season at no cost.
Well, I hate to tell you.
That guy sounds like an asshole, though.
I mean...
He's got to get that he's like a university horticulturalist.
I don't even know what a university-trained horticulturalist is, but I think that even if they gave you a new batch of the seed, it would be the same thing. It seems like these are the genetic traits of this seed, right?
The guy who had good luck on it, I was interested to see if there was anything in his review that was revealing. So he soaked them for 24 hours. He planted on the hottest day of the year, and it immediately became cold and wet.
It was cold. No, the thing about that review that I thought was revealing is that it doesn't sound like it was terribly successful. It's just that he blames the environmental conditions, right? He's not blaming the seed. He's blaming the greater Seattle area's climate. So he's going to give it another try and is unwilling to give it lower than a 4-star rating. That's what I took away from that. It's like blaming, it's capitalism. It's getting you to blame yourself for the product's failings. Sure. Because you didn't get the joy you expected to get out of it.
Let's end with the review by Hessian Guy 2.
Wow, I love it! Which
I think is really an appropriate review for this corn.
Should we grow this just to see what happens? Are we, for science, do we have to plant some of this corn?
Well, it seems like it'll be a waste of space and not taste good.
Does Burpee can they even accept seed orders at this point?
They can, I think.
Okay.
So Hessian Guide 2 could not fit all of his review into one review.
Wow.
So he has his first review is titled, Yes, Ears Are Huge. It's a lengthy review. And then he has a second one titled, Yes, Ears Are Huge, Part 2. And that one reads, I wanted to add another photo to my first review, but Burpee said this was not possible and advised me to just write another review. So here it is. Please see my previous review. And I'll point out he's posted a picture of this corn, but it's only half of it's only half of the corn? Like it couldn't fit into one picture? Just as it cannot fit into one pot. and 1 review.
You have to break it all in half.
Yeah,
Your
right.
ears, your reviews,
Your
and your
pictures,
photographs.
yeah. All right, well, that corn sounds terrible.
Wow.
Follow us on Twitter at CD Business, on Instagram at CD Business Pod. You can email us at cdbusinesspod@gmail.com. We need a sign off.
I've been saying that for years, but I think you told me we didn't.
No, we do. Kiss your dad square on the lips. Is that one taken?
That one's taken.
I just came up with that.
Keep on truckin'.
I think we can use keep on truckin' for the moment until we find out.
That's not
something better.
Okay. To be honest, I just have the farm wisdom jingle in my head now
What's
that we're.
one?
Well, it's a segment on My Brother and Me where they say
right.
farm wisdom.
Yeah.
Listen, we're all just doing the best we can.
Eat your vegetables. It's a classic.
What if you say eat your vegetables and I say we're all just doing the best we can?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, let's try it.
Let's try it. All right, we'll see you next time. Eat your vegetables.
We're all just doing the best we can.
Speak for yourself. It's CD business. It's CD business. Boring talk about seeds, CD talk between doors. Mind-numbing chatter about ovals and spores. We'll dig a ditch and we'll moan and split the difference. It's CD business. It's CD business.